Hey guys, welcome to the 25-26 My Premier League predictions. That's right, like last year, we're going to try and predict the Premier League table. Before I start, obviously, I just want to say this is obviously a prediction. This is my own opinion. It doesn't mean that I'm right, and it doesn't mean that you have to like it. Obviously, if you support a team that I've put too low, obviously that's fine. But don't come with heat and stuff because the season's not even kicked off. Obviously, some of these teams that have come up, I've not even watched, and some of the players that clubs have signed, I've not watched the player at all. So I can't say if they're good or not. So just be aware. I do want to hear your 1 to 20 Premier League predictions in the comments, so that obviously we can review them at the end of the season. But yeah, just like I said, just be mindful. We're here to have fun. Don't take it too seriously. So let's get into it. So in 20th, I'm unfortunately going with Burnley. They've lost James Trafford in goal. I believe they lost their striker Brownhill. I don't know if that's correct or not. Like I said, I don't know too much. I know they were very good in the Championship. However, I just think the Premier League is a big gap to bridge, and I think they just haven't done enough in the transfer window. So yeah, I'm just gonna go with Burnley bottom. In 19th, I'm going Leeds again, another promoted side. I'm just gonna pull up done deals so that obviously I can see. Talking about obviously Leeds, I would like them to stay up. They're a traditional Premier League side, but I just think again the same with Burnley, they've not really made that many signings that I know of. I believe they are looking for a striker to bring into the club. But yeah, I just think they're going to struggle as well. And in 18th, I'm joking, I'm going Wolves. Wolves in 18th. Obviously, it's easy to just cop out and go the three teams that come up go back down, and 9 times out of 10 you're more likely to get that 100% correct. But I just think Wolves gonna struggle without Al Nouri and obviously without Cunha. If I can go to where are Wolves. Obviously they've kept Strand Larson, which is obviously a good signing, but are the players around him going to be good enough? They've lost Cunha, Al Nouri, Gonzalo Gundes didn't really play much, but still a good attacking quality. Nelson Semedo, Pablo Sarabi. They've lost Craig Dawson at the back. So yeah, I just think they've lost too much squad, and I think they can really struggle. And we saw it last season. Yes, obviously they survived, but I think a whole season without Cunha's X Factor and magic, Wolves are going down in 18th. In 17th, then I'm going to put Sunderland. Just obviously to cover the bases of if they do go down, it's just one place difference. But I do hope they stay up. I do like what they've spent in the transfer window. If I can just pull it up right now. Sunderland. Obviously, Xhaka is a big signing, 17.3 million. Simon Algaro from Brighton, 20 million. Habi Duraro for 30 million. Enzo Lafay for 20 million. They've got obviously the Chelsea striker on loan. Obviously, the question is are these players real Premier League quality, and will they click straight away? Obviously, that is the real question. Because if they don't, then obviously you could really see them being struggling. But I believe they do have some good fixtures in the first 10 games. Some obviously will be must-win games, but if they can win those games, then obviously they have a good chance of surviving the Premier League this season. In 16th, I'm going to Brentford. I think Brentford could be relegated this season. When you look at the Premier League, Wolves and Brentford are the two teams that could possibly go down. They've lost Bemo. They've lost, obviously, their manager. They've lost their captain. In obviously Brentford. They lost Norgard, their captain. I just think Norgard, Flecken, Ben Mee, they've obviously signed Callagher from Liverpool, which I think is a good goalkeeper. Jordan Henderson, I believe he's 35 now. That's more of a leadership quality player, not to play on the field, but in the dressing room. I like Michael Coyote from Fiorentina. I've been a big fan of him for a couple of years now, playing in Fiorentina. A good wonder kid for career mode and stuff like that. So I do know about him, but I'm just a bit uncertain with the amount of losses and key losses. And if Wizard go as well, I think it might be a swap with Wolves that they go straight down. But for now, I put them 16th. In the 15th, I'm going with Fulham. I think Fulham are just a mid-table team. No, they're roughly between 15th and 12th, They're not going to be pushing for top 10, in my opinion. Obviously, I might be wrong. But I just think they don't really excite us, Smith Rowe last season, everyone had high hopes for him. And he didn't do anything. Why can't I find Fulham, Chelsea, Palace, Everton, Fulham? Okay. Yeah, so they've obviously not really signed anyone also in the window. Their losses, they've not lost anyone big, which is a benefit, but I just don't think they're stagnating. They're not really improving, and that is why I've got Fulham in 15th place. In 14th is going to be Bournemouth. Their attacking is very good. But the problem with Bournemouth is they've just lost their entire back line. Zabani leaving yesterday for 66 million euros, which is 54.5 million. Kirkes to Liverpool, their left back, for 40 million. Dean Hudson for 50 million to Real Madrid, which was his other centre back. They've lost Max Aarons on loan. They've lost Kepa in goal, who they had on loan last season. Obviously, they've done some signings. Petrovic from Chelsea as the goalkeeper coming in. Andrew Trossard to replace Kirkes. Obviously, the quality is going to be a bit different. But they've not really replaced the centre-back pairing at the moment. And obviously, they do have 160 million from all those big sales to go and buy players. But the season starts tomorrow, and the window obviously does close for another week or 2 weeks, so they would have time to replace players. But for now, coming into the window starting tomorrow, I think they're going to finish 14th. But I do like their attacking quality. Let's not get wrong. They've got Semenyo still. They've got Kluivert. They've got Evan Nilsson up top. They do have players who can score goals. It's the defensive area that are wide for Bournemouth. In 13th, I'm going Crystal Palace. Now, usually you would put Palace 10th, 11th, and they're probably going to be back on. The reason why I've gone them a little bit backwards is due to the fact that they're going to be playing in the Europa League Conference, so Thursday night football, and it will be their first time ever playing that competition, and having to manage 2 games, and obviously any cup games as well. Like I say, the season starts tomorrow. They've still got Eze, but the window is still open. If they were to lose Eze, I think Palace would be in trouble. But as of right now, they've managed to keep Eze. They've managed to keep Guy, Matessa. So they've kept all their key players, really. And I think that's very important for Palace. But again, they've not really brought anyone in. And that's obviously a bit, again, like what I was saying about Fulham, is they're just stagnating. They're not improving. They're not looking to push on, because they've not signed anyone to improve that squad. But we'll see. But for now, 13th place for Crystal Palace. I think Palace fans would take that if it meant having a good cup run as well. Maybe in the FA Cup or even in the Conference League. They would be probably one of the top 4 favourites to win it. So why can't they go and win that and then get into Europa League next season and build on? Palace fans, let me know, would you take 13th and a semi-final in a cup? In 12th, I'm going Everton. I think with obviously David Moyes now in charge, a full season, I think he will obviously steady the ship. New stadium, we'll see whether that plays a part of the fans. But I do think their squad has improved. Dewsbury Hall, Adam Azanari from Bayern Munich, obviously the new striker Barry. Obviously the striker position better, and we know what he goes missing a lot. So bringing in a new striker is obviously what they needed. Is he going to be Prem proven? Unknown. They've got Alcaraz. They bought him on permanently for 12 million, which is a good signing. They still got Branthwaite. They still got Pickford in goal. I do think Everton are going to have a decent season this year. In 11th, I'm going West Ham. I think people are over-exaggerating how bad West Ham's atmosphere is. You know, they've not really signed anyone, but also they've not lost anyone. You know, they've got Paqueta back from his ban charges. They've got Bowen, Fulcrum. They've obviously got Jones Ward-Prowse in the midfield. The question for West Ham fans and about the club is Potter the manager for them? You know, they sacked their manager last season. I believe they sacked the manager the year before. Don't quote me on that. I definitely know they sacked the manager last year. If Potter doesn't do well, then I think West Ham could be dropping into this tier of the Premier League. But I think with the quality of Bowen, Paqueta, you would hope to see Fulcrum at his best. I think they will be fine. And I think 11th place is good. Moving into the top 10. I'm going 10th, Forest. Obviously, everyone had Forest to be relegated last season, or down about the relegation zone, and they proved us wrong. I don't think they can do what they did last year. I think we saw it towards the end of the season. They were gassed out. They overperformed massively. Obviously, keeping Gibbs White is a major plus for them. But I think when you look at Chris Wood, I don't think he's going to have another good season like he did last year. Obviously, losing Elanga to Newcastle is a big one. They kept the back four the same, and their back four last year was unbelievable. But can they repeat what they did last year? That is the question. So for me, I've put them 10th. I think Forest fans, that is still a good season, especially when everyone had you going down last year. To do what you did last year and then to remain in that top 10 this season would be a good achievement for Forest, especially with not really signing anyone, staying in the Premier League and kind of pushing into that top 10 mould would help Forest become a bigger giant when they used to be. So that is my answer. In 9th, I'm going Brighton. I like Brighton, they're always the same. They sell players, they bring in hidden gems, and they cook, and then they sell them on again. Brighton is probably the best run club in the Premier League, probably maybe in the world, top 5 in the world. The way they sell players, bring in young players, build them up is unbelievable. The likes of Maxim de Krul they've just signed, the left back from Club Brugge, and then they go and pick some. They picked up Kolostalas from Olympiacos, which is a centre back, and then they got some hidden gems like Diego Copololo from Hellas Verona, and then some other ones. Obviously, the big question is they've loaned out Evan Ferguson. Obviously, they've just sold João Pedro to Chelsea. Obviously, Barco is still on loan, I believe, and they've just sold Samir Ingra to Sunderland. But again, like I said, they pick players. They have good recruitment talent. I think they'll be fine, and I think they will finish in 9th. Which basically means we're back to the top 8. No crazy falls from last season. in my opinion, I've got Aston Villa in 8th. The reason why I've got Aston Villa in 8th is because their transfer window hasn't been great. They've obviously not sold many players, but they've also not brought in the players that they brought in from loan last season, like Asensio, like Rashford. Obviously, they're relying heavily on Watkins and Rodgers being their attacking go-to. I think with obviously Conference League, I believe they've got, maybe Europa League, one of the two they're in. Emre loves those competitions. He'll be focusing on trying to win those as well. And I think that will ultimately have a hinder on their form this season. So yeah, I just think they've not really improved their squad, and the players they had last year to help with squad depth, they've not retained. So for me, Aston Villa finish in 8th. In 7th, I'm going Tottenham Hotspurs under new management. You know, obviously 17th last year was unbelievable, but I do think they'll go back to what is normal for Spurs, which is just outside of Champions League. They've obviously kept all their attacking players, you know, like Kulusevski, Solanke, and all that. Under Thomas Frank, they're probably going to be more defensively sound. Their back four is very good, with obviously Porro, Vicario, Romero, Van der Vaart, Ugodi. Obviously, they did just lose to PSG, like always, being 2-0 up, only to lose it on penalties. You can't take the DNA out of the bottle jobs, but being serious, no, they have improved the squad a little bit, with Kudos, Paulinho on loan from Bayern Munich, Danzo they've permanently bought. So yeah, I do think they've done very well, and I think they'll be back in around the Europa League and Europa League conference places. In 6th, I've gone Newcastle, and obviously you're basing everything on that the season starts tomorrow. They do have Isaac still. Whether he leaves in January or the deal gets done before the window closes, no one knows. Rumours are surrounding that he will not play for Newcastle any point games this season, and for them that is a big loss. Their main man, their best player. But I do think they still got good attacking options. You know, Gordon. Their midfield is very strong. Tonali, Bruno, Guimaraes. They obviously defensively are good with Botman and stuff, but they've got obviously another European competition, and we've seen it before. They tend to have a dip in the league when they do focus on European competitions. So personally for me, Newcastle finish in 6th. In 5th, Manchester United. Again, you could say this is biased. You could say hopefulness. But I do think Man United have took the right steps this season. They've addressed the issues in the attacking areas with Cunha, with Sesko, with Brian and Bemo. You know, you still got Ahmed, you still got Rashford. Sorry, not Rashford. You got Bruno Fernandes. You know, Mason Mount looked quite good in pre-season. Going forward, then Loro looked quite good in the back three. Dogu was bombing round and they scored some goals and assists. I do think there's a couple of slight issues with Manchester United, especially the goalkeeping. But if they can get Donnarumma over the line before the window closes, I think that would definitely help Man United's case being in that 5th spot. And obviously the Baleba deal could go through. And if you were to get Baleba and Donnarumma, that would be a great transfer window for Manchester United. So I put them in 5th. Obviously, you might want to rip me. You might dislike that, but obviously that's my opinion as a United fan. I think we're nowhere near the top 4, sorry. But I do think we can get that 5th spot, especially with obviously Newcastle not having Isaac for potentially, and obviously Spurs again still in their rebuild era as well, which means in the 4th I would like to put Manchester City. I do think the business they've done is very good, especially going forward. But I think when you look at Man City, they've obviously brought Trafford in, but does he start over Ederson, whose form was really bad last season? Obviously, Man City, they have great squad depth, but their first team is all over the place. You never know who's going to start. The only person you can guarantee starts is Erling Haaland. Obviously, their fullbacks are very attacking. Nunes and Al-Nouri. I do think they could get exposed going forward on the counter-attacks. So for me, Manchester finish 4th. In 3rd, put Chelsea. Obviously coming off a very good high in the Club World Cup. Good signings in João Pedro, Delap. They've not replaced the biggest issue for me though, which is their goalkeeper. I don't think Sanchez is the one for them. I think they should really be going out and improving the goalkeeper position. They brought in Jamie Gittins, 51 million. Hato at the back for 38 million. Esther Villar-Williams they brought in from Palmeiras, 29 million. Kendry Paz they brought in an Argentinian cam for 17 million and then loaned him straight back out. They obviously lost Petrovic and Kepa. They've obviously sold Madueke, which is good money for them. João Felix has gone. Broja joined Burnley this on loan. I just think the one issue Chelsea need to fix to be a Premier League contender is the goalkeeping position. Obviously, they've still got time to do that, but as of right now, for tomorrow, they will finish in 3rd. In 2nd is Arsenal, which means Liverpool will be crowned champions again. We hate to see it. They will go on to be the most successful Premier League team. They've never done back-to-back Premier League campaigns, and I think that for them is obviously a good chance for any of the other top 3 to push Liverpool, so that they've never done that. But for me, Arsenal finished 2nd. Yes, they've got Gyökeres, which was the striker they've been needed for the last couple of seasons. They brought in depth for Madueke to play potentially on the left. They brought in Zubimendi and they brought in Nogard to help the midfield quality. Their outs are not too massive. Obviously, we don't want to talk about Thomas Partey because this video might get cancelled. They've obviously let go of Kearney and Jorginho. But for me, the reason why Liverpool are above Arsenal despite making those signings are because of the quality of signings Liverpool have made. Florian Wirtz, Frimpong, Kerkez, Liverpool have obviously pound for pound matched Arsenal. They've obviously got Mamadas in for this season, Etatike for 79 million. If they go and get Isaac, everyone in this league should be scared. But yeah, I just think Liverpool will be crowning champions this year. So that is my Premier League predictions, guys. Obviously, like I said at the start, it is a prediction. Doesn't mean I'm 100% right. But please let me know in the comments down below your 1 to 20. And don't change them, because I will be able to see if you've changed it and edited it. But for now, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you did enjoy it. I know I'm going to get some of these completely wrong, but that is the part of the game, and we love to play the game. So for now, thank you for watching. Goodbye. Make sure you like and subscribe, because there is going to be more Premier League content. FPL content this year is back. So make sure you are tuned in to the channel. Goodbye.